Hey there everyone, it's Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy here with another weekly update for you. If you haven't seen these before, this is basically what I do through the course of the week. You'll see all of my trials and tribulations, successes, opportunities, and such in real time. Try not to hide anything from you. Should be a load of fun. It is the beginning of June here now. Let's get this week started. First order of business this week. Well, we packed up a whole bunch of orders. We ran to storage. We packed up all those big boxes over there. Got stuff going to Switzerland, California, a few other things. So that was fun. Typical Monday. But we're going to kick off with Typhoon. Jason's already swapped around the power leads and the sensor leads for the forward tank. The idea behind this is to see if this is a board issue or a tank issue. I'm hoping it's a tank issue because that's a lot more solid state. The only thing that can really go wrong is a limit switch. So we're going to power up the radio and power up the boat, and hopefully it works. Okay, Jason's going to hold the... He's going to make sure he gets his finger right in those gears.
Yeah, that would feel good.
All right, power it up. It's working. It's a bad board.
Only halfway.
Oh, what the heck? It should have retracted all the way.
I got orange lights on down here. I don't know what that means.
Yellow and yellow. Yeah.
Yellow lights, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go to submerged mode and see what that does. Okay.
I heard clicky. Something's clicking.
All right, back to surface. No.
Isn't this supposed to retract
all the way? Okay, we got to put some thinking into this. All right, so update. When we switched it back around, this tank thinks that the midpoint of the travel is surfaced condition. No matter what, it always wants to return to this position when it's put in surface mode. So, with that being the case, and I'm just going to make sure these are both centered, yes. What we're going to do now is we're going to switch everything back the way it was and then switch the actual wire leads over to tank stern and see if it behaves properly off of the tank 2 outputs. I'm thinking more and more this might be a tank issue, but I don't know, we'll see. So I think we're going to throw the towel in on the old T-Max board there. We tried swapping tanks around, and they're all behaving really erratically. It doesn't make any sense. I think the output for the forward piston tank is screwed up on the board somehow. We're just going to extract it fully. We'll take a quick visual inspection of it, put the old peepers on it, see if we can see anything overtly wrong, like a blown diode or something like that. Not that I'm going to attempt to try and repair it. But I guess we'll see what a new board is going to set us back. Other option, which I'm actually pretty seriously considering throwing to the customer, is the old solid state board, dive module boards from Engel. This is just like relays and a really simple microcontroller in there. The problem is I don't have instructions for this, so I'm not even sure how to wire it. It would do away with the features of the fine trim adjustment and the being able to make it bow and curtsy and all of that stuff. But in the end of the day, those are just features that are nice to have. You don't necessarily need to have, and they just add a ton of complexity to the boat when it doesn't need it. So we'll see. I'll do some research, see how quickly and how much T-Max or TAE board will cost, and we'll take it from there. I'm stalled now, basically. There's nothing more for me to be able to do to this. I'll have to throw it in the back and wait, whatever, a week or 2 weeks for the new board to come in from Engel. So, you're going to notice there's no Typhoon behind me. Went ahead and ordered a couple of things from Engel. Now, I don't know how long they're going to take to get here. It could be 5 days, it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks. I don't know. I don't even know if they have them in stock. So I ordered a replacement TAE board, which is the new T-Max board, has all the functionality and everything like that. The other thing that I ordered, in case that is not in stock, was a pair of their Uni drivers. Now, those are designed to control one piston tank. But the beauty of these radios is that I can hook each one of those up on a separate channel and do some pretty cool mixing stuff, which should get a lot of the same functionality out, and it's about half the price. So we have options. It's all a matter of when it gets here. So that's been put over, and the library is going to sit there and stew until we get parts. I have to get this battle boat done. And I'm going to get that out of the way. And then I got to do up some way bills to get the other stuff shipped out today. So, moving on, moving up, moving on up, moving up, doing stuff. All right, I'm turning some shafts, some couplers actually. This is what I've got. I've got to drill these up because these are 16th inch bore. Got them on the jungle site. One side needs to be 3/32 and the other needs to be 5/32 because I'm building a propelling apparatus for the back of the battle boats. Now, typically, a lot of you guys probably chuck this sucker up in your drill press, press it down. Anything that spins at high revolution is really, really sensitive to the centralization of the bore, which is why you invest in something like this exceptionally high precision, high tolerance apparatus that I got from China for a couple $100. Harbor Freight and that kind of place, you can get mini lathes. Lots of these are available, different flavors and colors and configurations. This is the second one I had. The first one that I had broke, oddly enough. Go figure. You invest in the best technology from China, and it just gives up on you. But when you use something like this, it creates a perfectly centralized bore, obviously, through there, and that's really important for your drive line. If it's off center at all, you're going to end up with massive amounts of vibration. Your electronic pitch controller is going to go crazy. It's just going to be all kinds of badness. So something to think about if you got a little bench space, a couple $100, that you can look to expend. There's a couple of different things for this. Obviously, like I said, I'm doing a bore here, so I got my chuck and my drill bit, 3/32, and it's just going to be poking a hole in the coupler there. But obviously, you can also turn stuff, make big stuff into littler stuff with this as well. So worthwhile expenditure if you're serious about the hobby. You'll find once you get one, you'll use it more than you thought you would. So let's get to turning. I'm gonna put on my safety glasses. Can you guys hear that? I changed up the music I listen to, and to be honest with you, working in the old shop with Jason Butterfield has completely and irrevocably damaged my appreciation of 1980s classic rock. That's all we listened to for like 3 years. So I am not going to listen to that stuff anymore. So I have a very eclectic music taste, at least when it comes to shop music. Right now I'm listening to Scottish bagpipe dance music, I guess. Renee and I are planning a Christmas vacation for the family to Scotland, and we got to playing some Scottish music on Amazon, and this stuff came up. It's super cool. I love it. I love high energy music in the shop. Otherwise, energy levels get low and you fall asleep. So I'm packing up all the Battle Boat stuff because Battle Boat 3.78549 is ready for testing. This is kind of like the final iteration I'm going to be working with this gentleman on, because obviously I have a lot of other stuff going on. So I've sealed up the control module, and it's designed not to come apart after you put it in, although you can if you really need to. Silicone's just curing, so we are going to be chucking this in the pool and checking out the revised internal flood dynamic situation. Boy, that boat looks big in this video. It's not that big. There you go. So we're going to set that aside and clear off the workbench, and we're going to pull out the Nautilus. Now that's going to be a whole separate video series. The Disney Nautilus, the 1/48 scale kit, 50 inches long. And we're going to do a complete front-to-back build series on that. It's not going to be in these weekly update videos. It's going to be in its very own video series that you're going to be able to follow along with if you ever want to know how these are put together. First one is going to be a static display. Second one, full RC. So gearing up to make some room. Nathan's going to be coming over here in a little bit as well. We're going to talk about his Sequest project. That should be really cool. What we're going to do to try and make that fully functional. I got one of those kits squirreled away for myself. He managed to grab one too, so I guess his is going to be the test mule for what I'll be ending up doing with mine whenever I get some free time to build my own boats. Like I mentioned, Nathan's coming over here. We're going to take a look at SeaQuest. It was about one of my favorite shows growing up. Submarine show. I was too early for like Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and all that stuff. So that was my era, like the 90s and stuff. And then I put that kit out a while ago, 1/300. It's a beautiful little kit, but the molds ended up burning out, and it was just, anyhow, no longer available. Working on Nautilus here. I just spent the last like hour or two doing like an overview and getting all of that done. If you want to, you can take a look at that video. It'll be dropping in the next few weeks. Well, it'll be going chapter by chapter. Maybe it'll be sooner than that. I don't know. Week and a half. But that's what I've been working on. We're going to wait for Nathan to show up and see if he's okay getting on film here, and we're going to talk Sequest. This is Nathan. Nathan, this is everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Nathan lives, he's like a neighbor to me. He lives just down the road. And he brought over his Sequest kit, which is a product that we produced back in the day. So let's take a look at this stuff, maybe piece by piece, or pieces by pieces. So we got our display stand, all the small jets and nozzles and everything. This is in particular what we're interested in. This is the stern piece, the main stern piece, which we're going to need to make functional. You got like extras in here, lots of extras. So when we mess up the first one, we'll have spare. Yeah. Okay. And I've still got the 3D files for all of this stuff, but the way this kit was produced, we created the 3D printed parts like this, but then you can see the bioweb that was put on there. So we had the base pieces, and then I put on a webbing over top, and then we made molds. And so if I were to 3D print this again, it wouldn't have the webbing, the bioskin, I believe it was called. So we got that. We got our rear football with the missiles and the DSRV docking majigger thingies. We got spares of everything. And favorite part, these are all rotocast, by the way.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty darn cool. Okay, I think we're done with the box. What's in here?
The miso.
Oh, yeah. Okay. let's talk. Let me grab my phone and we'll talk. What you envision this thing to do when we're all done.
Okay.
Okay, so obviously we need to get access to these. These being rotocast are all one piece, hollow, but there's no entrances, no access points to any of this stuff. So the way this works, it would be something like this or this. I don't know, one of the two. And then you got your rear football in the back. So first order of business is getting access to everything. Propulsion is going to go in the back. This being in the center of the boat would make a perfect spherical ballast tank. Is that
That's what we originally talked about, yeah.
Okay, but you had talked about the idea of making this open right here.
Why did you... I mean, would this be the tank?
This would be that tank.
Oh. Well, that's cool. Then.
It was poke a hole in the top for a vent and a hole in the bottom for water, and
Wow. That's easy enough.
it was your ballast tank.
Okay.
So you're
But we can still put the doors out open, right? Just make it...
yeah, just put a black background or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be fine.
Okay. And then we talked about LED lights shining.
Yes, I think they're here shining that way.
Yep. I was kind of thinking maybe do one each way so it equally illuminates forward and back. And then I can't remember on the top if there's one under this.
I was looking online that some had it, some didn't.
But certainly the torpedo opening.
Yeah, right here there's the LED
Yep.
coming this way,
Yeah. Or maybe, no, these were the torpedoes right here. I have no idea what those strakes in the front were.
Yeah, but a lot of the models, I was looking online, a lot of them had the lights coming out of here.
Yeah.
Now, some of them had them coming out of here and on the bottom too, but...
Yeah, and those that's up and down as well. Which we could just put one light in the middle of the tank and it just shines up through clear resin.
Oh,
We got options
yes.
with the ballast tank joined to it. Up or down, I don't know how this goes like that. You can't really split this in the middle because then it's joined there. I guess you could, but then you have a big ugly seam. So we're kind of talking about access, like the bottom part.
Yeah.
Okay, that should be doable. It's still good access to everything in the bottom.
I think it'd be fine, yeah.
And then with a razor saw, we should actually be able to cut all the way across and then have the seam with this thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Either the razor saw or your magic tool.
Oh, yeah. I forgot I had that. My ultrasonic knife. So that we talked about, or I talked about previously, for control of this thing, thrust vectoring.
Right.
So in order to do that, we basically need to drill a gigantic, 1.5 or 2-inch hole, right through the whole thing, make it hollow.
Oh, okay.
You could get fancy because those jets fit in here. I think the way that this was supposed to work is those jets were supposed to move.
Oh.
Those little nozzles.
Extremely difficult.
That would be extremely difficult. I am not interested in doing that. But my idea and what I'd started with mine is again, I just put a big 2-inch hole right through the middle, and then we'll put a big nozzle, gimbaled nozzle up and down.
Okay.
So you'll have vertical and horizontal control without the need for dive planes or anything like that.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
The other option would be to use the fins,
Which I had thought about previously too. They're set up in like a cruciform.
Yeah.
Top, bottom, left, and right. So in order to turn left, just the left fin would move.
Yeah, and then in order to do drag.
In order to do right, the right one would move. So you'd have half of the control surfaces that you would probably want. Mm-hmm. They're pretty big, but that would be, I think, challenging.
I think it would be too, yeah.
And then because it's going to be functional, right?
Right.
We would want this assembled with the sleek, laid back fins versus the splayed out.
That's true, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was thinking make it be able to adjust, but yeah, you're right. There's no reason to do that.
Just for display, I guess, more than anything else. But when I was thinking about that, when you had emailed me, you know, you'd have to make, I guess each one could be individually, but it'd be interesting because you'd have to have, you know, the proper amount of tension so they remained in the proper, you know, orientation. And
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. Lay them back. Maybe open it a little bit just because you got the thrust vectory.
Yeah.
Because it would be hitting the fin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
30 degrees or something.
Yeah. So that's what we got going on there. So we just got to zero in on if it's going to be like a pump style ballast system or an air style ballast system. I guess the trick with this boat, it has, I'm trying to remember the series. Now,
Right.
when this thing was on the surface, was this like a typical fantasy submarine
I
where
saw it once or twice on the surface, and then the last time I saw some photos I saw, you're talking like right
that,
down the
I
middle.
think that was like quasi dry dock though, wasn't it?
I think it was like when they had a real issue with somebody tried to like sink it,
yeah.
and they had to raise it.
So maybe you could explain that away by saying, "Oh, it's in dry dock," and they lifted it up out of the water a
Yeah,
little bit.
maybe. I'm not worried about that.
About the water line.
Yeah. I mean, that Marlin,
so-
I'm having a hard enough time getting this the water line. There's no way you're going to get this.
So basically, we're saying whatever this works out to is where the water line is going to be. Whatever this capacity gives us is going to be what the water line equals.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, that feels good to me.
I mean, it's not a surface ship at all. So what I'm unclear about, because you got this, like this, there's some space in here, but not a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got a neck, which is
It's really
unusable,
thin,
right?
yeah.
But this is going to be the ballast. You got, as long as your propulsion will fit in the back.
I'm thinking about
You've really
making
got a
this
battery
as
and a radio.
making this as simple as possible. So if you're okay with a brushless in the wet
Okay.
in the back and 2 waterproof servos, then the only thing we're putting in the back in the box is the receiver. Just the receiver.
And a battery.
The battery could live up front. We could run the
you have to
wires
have it.
through, and then that way you could put a big beefy battery, like a 3,000 milliamp hour.
I mean, you're going to have water in here.
So that what I'm getting
It's
at.
mostly going to be tail heavy, so we're going to have to put a big battery in.
Yeah, exactly. So we could split it, at this seam, and then just put one big, maybe like a nickel metal hydride 12-volt battery pack in there, because those are super easy to waterproof.
Yeah. Wow.
And just run the cables back.
You're making this so much easier than I was thinking.
And then we need a switch to
I
turn
was
it
terrified.
on and off with. Easy.
Can we get a box small enough?
Oh yeah, I've got a little tiny one. Actually, no, I'll go grab it. So this is what I had envisioned. This is like a little junction box, I guess, electrical junction box.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even remember where I got it from. But at any rate, this has a really good rubber seal across the entire inside there. The only thing that we need to put in there is a pitch controller and a receiver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we'll waterproof the electronic switch. That'll go in the belly up front. Battery. And then the other thing that I said, we'll make the lighting circuit on its own plug. So when he wants to display it, when he's not running it, just keep it on the shelf. And if you want to show it off, just put it in. Use that as a night light.
There you go. I already talked to my wife about a potential location. So
Yeah, because I guess, once you put it together, it's gosh, like at least 4 feet long, I think.
yeah, it's going to be your whole table out there.
Yeah.
You might have
Okay.
thought about this once or twice.
Well, I've got mine sitting on the shelf, so it's been percolating in the back of my brain for a little while. Now I'm going to do yours. I'm going to be like, oh, now I got to do mine.
Sorry.
Or maybe I should just grab mine and do them both at the same time.
There you go.
So I am trundling along with the Nautilus build. It's going good. Parts are fitting really, really well. I ran out of the adhesive that I'm using to permanently secure all the hull sections together. I ordered a couple days ago. It got delayed and should be showing up late today. So we'll be able to continue on with this tomorrow. Still waiting on the part for the new TAE board for the Typhoon. running into problems with PayPal not allowing me to pay for the part, and I sent a wire, but the wire's not going to show up for like 5 days, so I don't know if Engel's going to send it out for me or not without it being paid. They're usually really good about it, but we'll see. So I don't want to get yet another project on the bench. So what I am going to do is pick a little bit at the Sequest that Nathan dropped off, because it's already here, sitting on the bench. Just going to cut some holes and see what we can do to start getting it all set up. So I just took, I don't know, 20 minutes and went to the original CAD files that I generated for this boat and drew in the cylinder that's going to go for this rear section. Actually, I guess it'll be on this side, with the correct orientation, and then I did what's called a Boolean, subtracted this hull out of it, and that left me with 2 parts, an outside template that I can use to scribe the hull to cut it, and then the inside part that will eventually be actually glued to the body once we cut the hole. The other thing I did is I generated a new file for the stern with the center section, the center bore already done. So I think that's going to be much easier than me trying to cut this out with a hole saw. I did it before for mine. I still have that. But this I think is going to work a little better. And I'll have that 3D file so I can create the double tilting, that 2-axis tilt for a thruster nozzle. So what I'm going to work on in the meantime here, though, take the forward hull, and we're going to scribe out some access hatches in the bottom of the boat so that we have access to the interior. Go ahead, drill some holes in the ballast tank, and basically get access to this whole thing. All right, marked out the holes. This is going to be the hatch in the lower part of the forward hull. The hatch for the lower part of the rear hull. This is where all the motors and the servos and everything will go. And then marked out the correct direction and the vent hole and the drain hole for the ballast tank. So I'm going to bust out my trusty ultrasonic cutting tool, and we're going to see what kind of damage we can do to this thing in an effort to get a razor thin line that we're not going to have to do a lot of filling for. So let's see how that works. So because I got 2 of these, we're going to start with the bottom, and that way if I mess it up real bad, I got a spare. So let's fire up the ultrasonic cutting tool. See if we can poke some holes in this thing. You should turn it on first. Okay, and I'm going to go in at an angle like this. I don't want to go in flush, because what I want this to do, I want the door to rest on a flange when it's done. So I'm going to go in at an angle. I have no idea if this is going all the way through or not. Stay tuned for an update. Well, it didn't work well. It worked awesome. Can you see? That's not the seam down there. The seam is right up here. I don't know where that dirt is. So this is what we got. That knife just sliced right through it, and you can see some of these areas were actually really thick, and it just kind of cut through it like butter. It was pretty epic. There's globs of resin on the inside with different thicknesses and everything, but this is going to be really easy to get looking beautiful. You will not even see the fact that there is a hatch underneath there. It works so good. So for anybody, if you've got those Revell or Bronco kits and you're looking to split the hull, Now this is resin, much different, but I would invest in that ultrasonic knife. Good progress with this thing. So the door is mounted. Made a hole in here that will allow water to enter forward section here. I think I might even put another one right here so that it gets more water flow when you first put it in. You can get away with just the one. It might take a little while to fill. Debating whether or not to put a hole in the bottom here. I'd rather not, for the sake of aesthetics. I think, you know, when you run it, you just have to, or sorry, after you're done running it, you'll just have to make sure you tilt it back and get all the water out of the nose. But anyhow, back to the door. Want to do simple latching mechanism with no screws or anything like that to screw around with. Oh, did you get that? Screw around with. So you just pull it up and take it off. There you go. Done. These are magnets. You can see these are 6 mil by, I think, what, 2 mil? Disc magnets. And done. Perfectly smooth, nice and flush. You're barely going to see that. I followed the contour of this football shape in the side, so it's going to look really good, I think. So all I got to do now is go ahead and do the same thing for the rear section. And then I got the center section, the center sphere. This is where all the vehicles come in and out of. But you can see I got some wire run in there. That's going to be the main power wire. Going to be bringing power from the forward section, which is where the battery is. And I think I'm going to run a 7.2 volt nickel metal hydride 4.2 amp battery in here. That should let this thing run for eons. Power will come to the back. I just got to figure out a switch. Because I can't use my standard 12 volt switch because we're not running 12 volts. So I think we'll run my little micro switch. And I don't know if I'll just encapsulate that in resin or maybe go with a larger watertight box. We'll think that through. But anyhow, this is what that's going to look like. We decided upon first testing to go with a dynamic diver. And that obviously is going to vastly simplify the design. The center section is perfect for a ballast tank, and it will still be set up as such. You can see the drain in the bottom and the vent in the top. But for now, we're just going to leave it open. Sequest spent 99.9% of its time under the water. The only scenes you really saw it on the surface was like in that dry dock. So my vision, and Nathan's on board with this, is that just the upper hump, just like a whale, will be visible. Just ballast it so that her back is visible in the water. We'll have to see. I think it's going to work really, really good. And from a simplification and performance perspective, I think it's going to be pretty epic. So I'm going to move on to the rear football, and we'll see if we can get that hatch put together. And here's the forward hull. Like, wow. That is awesome. And when that blade chews through this, it doesn't actually melt it, like the styrene plastic does. It cuts it out and spits it out in little tiny crumbles. So this is just like beautiful. Lots of access to the interior here. We'll make a mounting bracket for the receiver and the battery. That'll go in there. I think what we'll do is we'll drill these open. And there's a little bit of flash in there, some bubbles anyway. So we'll drill that out and make that look nice and smooth and cool looking. And I'm getting kind of excited about this. This little afternoon departure thing is turning out to be pretty cool. Well, I'm done for the day. Got a lot done, though. Nautilus is looking like Nautilus. And Sequest is looking like some footballs. This is the aft football. And I haven't put any holes in it yet, but oh, there we go. That's the magnets that hold it all down. Just like that. So now I gotta drill a hole here or something so we can get your finger in, pull it out instead of having to stick your fingernails underneath. That shouldn't be too bad. And then I got the batteries on order. Those should be here tomorrow. But tomorrow maybe not a lot getting done because I need to go to my other house and do a whole bunch of maintenance stuff. Because we have like an annual inspection and they found like little tiny stuff that I got to do to adjust some doors and maintenance stuff, homeowner stuff. But maybe in the morning we'll get something done. I don't know. Let's see. So it is Thursday and I spent the entire morning working on house stuff. My other property. It's hot out here, but it's beautiful. I wanted to make sure that Battle Boat got its chance to get tested today. So we're going to throw it in the water and see what it does. So what I'm going to do, I am going to fill up the Battle Boat 1 cup at a time. We're going to take it out, spin it around, and see what it does. The reason we're doing this because we want to see how it performs when it's in a quasi-flooded condition. So let's add some water. 1 cup. Two cups. So it's listing to the side. Three cups. Boy, it is really listing to one side. Well, this isn't going to work. Basically, if I were to, yeah, I can flood it if I wanted to right now. And see, now it's listing to the other side, so the water is sloshing. Not ideal. I think the other design worked better. Happy Friday! Lots of stuff going on, and I feel like I got squirrel syndrome. I got a bunch of stuff I need to pick up from storage, box up, ship out today, so that's super exciting. Nautilus is probably going to sit on the bench today. I want to work more on Sequest, just because it's cool. And it'll make me feel better about myself. But I've also got an order to set up this older style MSD subdriver. So I want to talk a little bit about how these are set up and what you need to do to get them going. In case you have one or care about how they're put together. So these old subdrivers were something I worked together with Dave Merriman on, and MSD's modular subdriver. That was the idea. So there would be an engine module, a ballast module, and then a pump module. Actually, I got those backwards. It would be like a battery module, engine module, / pump module. At any rate, I had this traded in, so it's brand new. And we're going to go ahead and set it up. Now, just taking a quick look at this, we got brushed motors in the back. And I'd forgotten, of course, that it had brushed motors. And so each one of these requires an individual electronic speed controller. So it's going to take 2. Fortunately, I think I still have a couple of these BL Helis. They're like the size of a postage stamp. But when you run a BL Heli, because they don't have an integrated battery eliminator circuit in them, you need to run a separate battery eliminator circuit to power your receiver. So we're going to be doing all that wiring up, which is fairly self-explanatory. You're going to fit everything in here. Primarily what I want to take a look at here, you got to run power and servo for the forward servo for the bow planes through this brass tube in the bottom, and then out here. Now, the brass tube actually terminates directly against this plate in this particular case. So what I need to do is grab my screwdriver, remove the plate, and either fish the cables out and around the plate, or if I'm feeling particularly energetic, drill a hole in the plate where it terminates and pull the wire straight through the bulkhead, which will make it a little bit easier to move them back and forth if you need a little bit of slack in there. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and grab a paint pen. Always handy to have, by the way. Mark out where it terminates on the plate, which happens to be right there where that orange mark is. And then pull the plate, drill it from the other side, and then we'll just pull the cables through. You know what happens when you're tired and you rush? You drill into your thumb with a drill bit. I think maybe today I'm just going to just grab a drink and lay by the pool all day. This feels like it's going to be one of those days. Super important to test before you get too far. Got everything hooked up. There we go. ESCs. Check. And quickly testing the servos. We got those hooked up on the servo tester. They're working super good. Alright, now that all that shipping stuff is out of the way, we've got like 6 boxes out there. Back to work on SeaQuest. These are 3D printed parts that I obviously drafted and printed. So this is the revised tail section. This is the old one. And you can see a little bit of a difference between the two of them. Want to get flow out the back. And the idea here is we've got a thruster nozzle jet thing that looks like that. And that is going to direct the flow of water out the stern of the boat. But we want both horizontal and vertical articulation of the nozzle. So you can see got holes in there, so it's going to allow that to tilt up and down. This is going to allow it to tilt left and right. So it's going to kind of fit like this. The inner one is going to swivel back and forth in the ring, and the outer one is going to tilt up and down like that. And we don't need much. We don't need much. I may have made this a little bit too tight for tolerance. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. It's not moving very much in there. But I think I can machine it down, get the swivelage going on. But this is the idea. We got X and Y articulation. And then we've got a motor mount in here. You can see I've got cutouts for the linkages that go like that. It's going to sit like this inside. And this, I haven't even tested this. Should, in theory, slip into the stern. What you guys? I don't even know which way's up on this thing. Goes something like this inside. Got to do a little bit of sanding. Maybe it goes like this. Yeah, it goes like this. Boy, that fits nice. In there like that. And the motor is going to mount like this. And the propeller is going to fit right on that inside. And I'm going to use a 7-bladed scimitar. Not because that has the best performance. It doesn't. But it looks the coolest. So when you look inside there, you'll see the spinny, sharp, cool looking thing. So I'm going to see if I can get this all put together and quasi-functioning-ish looking for you guys to see before I tap out for the day. So, preliminary assemblage is complete with the exception of the vector thrust majigger. A couple of things happened. This is what happens when you rush. I didn't make the outer ring for this one with a large enough tolerance, so I couldn't get the proper swing. I just scaled it up by about 2 millimeters, and there's lots of room inside for that. So that's printing. It's going to be done in about 30 minutes, but not enough time to get it in this video. So you'll have to wait and see, but it's going to look super cool. Sticking out the back there like that, tilting back and forth and up and down. Going to be pretty awesome. But this is the assembly. The motor is in place there. The other boo-boo that I did, the original file's actually made for a much larger Sequest, which is what I forgot. I scaled them down for the model kit to make it a little bit more practical from a production perspective. So I had to scale down the part, but I forgot to keep the inside diameter, which isn't a big deal. Now what I've got is a 4-bladed prop rather than the scimitar. Scimitar wouldn't fit unless I really knocked the fins down, which I didn't feel like doing. So now we got a more traditional 4-bladed prop. Technically, this is going to be more efficient. It's going to move more water. Kind of excited about this. I think this is going to be super cool. You know, what I'll end up doing is mounting the 2 waterproof servos back here, running the linkages through these holes, and then into the assembly in the back. So that's going to be fun. The other thing I want to talk about, I printed some templates here, and let's see here, lefts and rights. This is a right. So the way that this works, I created these because I need to cut inlets in the boat to allow water to come in and feed that propeller. So I basically took a cylinder, sunk it into the boat, and then removed the body from with the 3D files there. So now what I can do, I can just trace around this little template, and that'll be the perfect hole to mount the inside pieces on the inside. You can see they're closed off. These are going to be opened up so that it'll be a full intake to the inside. So the water will be drawn from outside the boat into the rear hull section and then expelled out the back area there. So I think this is going to be really, really cool. So as we wrap up this week here, I wanted to end with a rant. It's rant time. If you guys follow my weekly update videos, a while back, you'll remember what actually ended up happening. I shipped a big crate of RC Sub Awesomeness to a customer in New York. And what ended up happening was he wasn't home while they attempted to deliver it, and so they brought it to the local UPS store to hold it. Most normal people would have gone and picked it up. It was about 10 minutes away from his home. He refused. He wanted to make arrangements to have them redeliver, and this took time. Too much time. It ended up getting sent back, and through a bunch of misadventures and such, it actually ended up getting sent back to the wrong address, as UPS did not update my new address after I had told them to, and it got shipped to Florida. At which time UPS promptly lost it. So what ended up happening is had a shipment that was completely lost. And because it took so long for the customer to try and make arrangements for it to get shipped back, and then for him to try and track it down afterwards, the 30-day point for package insurance expired. So, got nothing. Zero. Zilcha back. I don't feel that this was my fault. I really don't. Part of the blame lies with the customer and his unwillingness to drive 10 minutes to pick up the package when he should have. And part relies, obviously, upon the fact that UPS lost it. In either case, it was not me or anything that I could have done to have rectified this situation. But this is the world we live in. He just simply said, hey, that's no problem. I'll just put a claim in with PayPal. I'll get all my money back. That money comes directly out of my account. So he had lodged a claim with PayPal. I tried to open up a dialogue with him. He refused to communicate with me. I made an offer. I'm like, look, this wasn't my fault. This wasn't your fault. This is just the situation we're in. Let's split, the difference. I'll refund you half of this money. But no. So at the end of the day, I ended up having to pay $1,500 for the wonder of doing business with this individual. Suffice it to say, because of his lack of communication and I would say somewhat unprofessional communication methodology with me, elected not to ever do business with him again. So that is the way it goes. That's one of the joys of being a vendor. Customer's always right. PayPal will always side with the customer, much to my chagrin. I know a lot of companies, and I don't want to do this, but situations like this make it awful tempting. Cash only. Yeah, no credit cards, no PayPal, wire transfer, cash, check. Don't want to do it. I know it's convenient, because same way. I love paying with PayPal and such. But there you go. Rant over. So that is going to wrap up this wondrous week of work at the Nautilus dry docks. Not my usual velocity for getting stuff done. I'm like down a guy. I got 50% of my work in consult. I had a house thing this week to do, which only happens once a year, but it's a big thing where you go around and fix everything that broke during the course of the year. But still, some good stuff going on. We got Nautilus static display. It's going to be really awesome. Lots of really cool features on there. This is the actual first production version of this kit that we'll have built out. We're going to finish up the cylinder next week, and Sequest should get a massive amount of work done as well. Maybe I'll pick at it this weekend. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. It's awfully nice outside. This might be a relaxation weekend. I don't know. But at any rate, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me for this week. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. You can always email me, bob@nautilusdrydocks.com, and like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot, guys. Really appreciate your support. So we'll leave you with a couple of videos. One here, one here. Check them out. We got cool stuff on my channel. With that, we're going to let you go. You guys have an awesome day, and as always, we'll catch you next time.